Measuring dry cell voltage. Measure the DC dry cell or battery pack voltage ranging from 1.5 volts to 9 volts using voltmeter or multimeter. Take any of the cell from given lot. Identify the positive and negative terminals of the cell. Clean its terminals using cloth or paper. Hold the negative test rod black at the negative terminal of the cell. Touch the positive broad red of the meter to the positive terminal of the battery, observing the meter reading of the voltage in units.
Terms and definitions of electrolysis. Electrolyte. Electrolyte is a solution or a paste capable of conducting an electric current because of its dissociation into positive and negative ions. Electrodes. The conductor or terminal, usually metallic, through which an electric current enters or leaves is called electrode. Polarity of electrodes. One terminal of a battery that loses electrons in the external circuit during normal operation is called the negative electrode, and the terminal which gains electrons is called the positive electrode. Electrolysis. The process of decomposing liquids by the passage of electric current through them is called electrolysis.
Lead acid secondary cell and its parts.
The important parts are container, plates, separators, host terminals, electrolyte. Container. The container is made of hard rubber, glass or celluloid to accommodate the active plates, separators and the electrolyte. The plate rests on ridges provided at the bottom of the container known as sediment chamber. Plates. Positive plates are of two types, plantar plates or four plates. Plantar plates. These are prepared by the process of repeated charging and discharging. They are made of pure lead at the beginning, which changes to lead peroxide after the charge. Four plates. Pasted or four plates are made of rectangular lead grid into which the active material, lead peroxide, is filled in the form of a paste as shown in the figure. Negative plates are made of rectangular lead grid. The active material is spongy lead, which is in the form of a paste. Separators. These are made of thin sheets of chemically treated porous wood or rubber or PVC. They are used to avoid short in between the positive and the negative plates. Post terminal. A small pole extended upward from each group of welded plates from the plate connector forms the post terminal. Electrolyte. The electrolyte used in a lead acid cell is dilute sulfuric acid. The specific gravity of the electrolyte is 1.28 in a fully charged battery and 1.1 in a completely discharged battery, with a variation of 0.01 in both the cases.
Working principle of secondary cell.
The secondary cell has no significant electrochemical energy at the start. The energy must first be supplied to the secondary cell. Then the cell retains the stored energy until it is used up. In this case, both the electrodes are basically lead sulfate. The cell is charged as a result of the chemical reaction that takes place in it. The lead sulfate electrode changes to soft or spongy lead at the negative plate, and the other electrode changes to lead peroxide at the positive plate. At the same time, the electrolyte solution is strengthened and becomes mostly sulfuric acid. These are the reactions that take place at the terminals.
Nickel iron secondary cell.
The nickel ion cell or Edison cell is shown in the figure. The positive plate is made of nickel hydroxide tubes and perforated steel ribbon wound spirally and held together by steel ribs, and the whole lot is nickel plated. Negative plate is made of finely prepared nickel steel strip. Electrolyte. The electrolyte is 21% solution of caustic potash along with some quantity of lithium hydrate. The container is made of nickel-plated steel. Separators. The separators are made of hard rubber strips or PVC sheets and are held together in a nickel-plated container.
Tests. The following tests are to be conducted to ascertain the condition of the battery: specific gravity measurement, voltage measurement, high rate discharge test.
Specific gravity measurement. The specific gravity of an electrolyte is measured with a hydrometer. The main parts are rubber bulb, glass tube, float, and a flexible rubber tube. The hydrometer measures the relative density of the electrolyte in a lead-acid battery. These are the hydrometer readings for various cell conditions. Fully charged 1.26, 50% charge 1.20. A discharged condition gives 1.15 on the hydrometer. In case of nickel ion cells, there is no appreciable change in specific gravity between charge and discharge condition.
Specific gravity test. Keep the battery on a leveled wooden workbench. Remove all the vent plugs. Hold the hydrometer vertically. Place the nose of the hydrometer in the cell. Ensure that the hose is dipped in the electrolyte. Press the rubber bulb of the hydrometer. Release it to draw the electrolyte upwards. Ensure that the electrolyte does not come into the bulb. Note the float level which is floating in the electrolyte. Repeat the same procedure for all the cells and test the battery.
Voltage measurement test. Voltage tests of secondary batteries should be conducted under load. To make a simple high load voltage test of a car battery, check the value of the battery output voltage with and without the headlights on. A maximum load voltage test can be made by measuring the battery voltage while operating the starting motor battery. A drop of battery output voltage below 10 volt indicates that the battery is defective or not fully charged. High rate discharge tester. The internal condition of cell is determined by this test. A low range 0 to 3 volt voltmeter shunted by low resistance makes what is known as the high rate discharger tester. The two terminal prods are pressed on to the terminals of a cell. In case of a cell in good condition, the high rate discharge tester needle moves to the charge area inscribed in the dial. Red for fully discharged condition and green for fully charged condition.
High rate discharge test. Keep the prods of the high rate discharge tester to individual cell connectors, positive, negative. Check the voltmeter reading. Press it by hand for not more than 15 seconds.
Discharging of lead-acid cells. The chemical reaction that takes place during the discharging of a lead-acid cell is shown here. During discharge, the lead in both the electrodes react with sulfuric acid to displace hydrogen and form lead sulfate. The lead sulfate, which is somewhat insoluble, gets partially coated on both the positive and negative plates. Since both the plates approach the same material chemically, the potential difference between the plates begins to decrease. At the same time, the combining of oxygen in the lead peroxide with the hydrogen atoms of the electrolyte forms water. When the battery discharges, the sulfuric acid becomes weaker with its specific gravity approaching 1.0.
Necessity of charging. During discharge, due to chemical reaction, the active electrodes become softer and the internal resistance becomes high, causing a low output. To reverse the action, send a current DC through the battery or cell in the opposite direction to that of the discharge. This process is called charging. The charging can be done through a battery charger. When the voltage of the cell falls to a certain level, the battery is said to be discharged and can no longer produce the rated flow of electric current. When charging a battery, the negative lead of the charger must be connected to the negative lead of the battery and the positive lead of the charger to the positive lead of the battery. A reversal of these charger connections will produce a short circuit and may damage both the charger and the battery. Charging current. When charging any battery, it is important to set the charging current to a value recommended by the manufacturer. This current is set by adjustment of the output voltage on the charger and read by an ammeter connected in series with the charger and battery. The charger voltage is set to a value higher than that of the battery to produce a current flow. Methods of charging. After determining the condition of the battery or cell, the charging rate and the method of charging are to be decided. The battery should always be charged at the rates recommended by the manufacturer. The methods of charging secondary cells are constant current method, constant potential method, rectifier method.
Constant current method. This method is used where the DC supply is as high as 220 volt, 110 volt, etc. But the battery is at low voltage, 6 volts or 12 volts. Also, it is used for charging more number of cells together at a time. Constant potential method. In this method, the voltage is maintained at a fixed value about 2.3 volt per cell. The current decreases as the charging proceeds. A variable resistor is connected in series so that the voltage of the source could be varied. This method is used for charging batteries economically. Rectifier method. A rectifier for battery charging is generally made of diodes connected in the form of a bridge. A transformer is used to step down the AC voltage suitable for the rectified DC battery voltage. A meter, voltmeter, switches and fuses are also used in the rectifier circuit.